I pulled into the gravel drive of my lake house expecting nothing more dramatic than maybe a squirrel stealing birdseed. Instead, I found a strange SUV parked crookedly under my carport and a group of people I had never seen before gathered on my deck like they owned the place. A woman in a floppy hat flipped burgers on my grill, the grill I had scrubbed clean last fall. 2 kids were shrieking with delight as they chased each other across my dock, and a man lounged in my hammock, the one I painstakingly knotted myself. For a second, I genuinely wondered if I'd driven to the wrong property. But then I spotted my faded blue kayak, the cracks in the deck railing I still hadn't fixed, and the welcome mat my sister insisted was too passive-aggressive, because it read "Hope you brought wine." No mistake. These people were in my house. Before I could process anything, the woman at the grill noticed me. She gave me a cheerful wave as if I were a neighbor stopping by. "Hey there. You must be the owner," she said. I blinked. Yeah. I am. Who are you?" The man in the hammock sat up, suddenly sheepish. "We're the Thompsons. We rented the place for the weekend. Beautiful spot you've got here." "Rented? Rented?" I felt my stomach drop. "You rented my house? From who?" The woman set down the spatula and wiped her hands on the apron she was wearing, "Also mine. Lake Lux Rentals. The host's name was Karen. Said she manages several homes around the lake." Karen. There was only one Karen with that much audacity within a 100-mile radius, Karen Latham, president of the Homeowners Association, self-appointed guardian of the lake community, and world-class meddler. "Do you have the listing?" I asked, trying to keep my voice calm. The man handed me his phone. I stared at the screen, and every hair on the back of my neck stood upright. There it was, photos of my living room, my bedroom, my kitchen, pictures taken inside my home without my knowledge. The listing description bragged about exclusive lake access, private watercraft usage, and charming rustic decor curated by the host. Curated, apparently, by me. I felt a cold spike of anger. I never authorized this. I don't rent my house out. Ever. The family looked stunned. "But, we paid for the weekend," the woman said, her voice small now. $250 a night. Non-refundable. This was bad. Not for them, they were innocent, but for me. If Karen had the gall to list my home, she probably had done this before. Probably to others. Or worse, probably had pocketed money under the HOA's name. And she clearly had access to my house. That realization alone made my skin crawl. I took a breath and forced a steady tone. "Listen, none of this is your fault. I'm not kicking you out tonight. But I need the contact info for whoever rented this to you." The man pointed to the name on the screen again. Karen Latham. My blood boiled hotter than the grill she was using. This wasn't a misunderstanding. This was a takeover. I stormed into the HOA office like I was about to walk into a lion's den, which, in hindsight, might have been a fair comparison. The walls were painted that bland, beige official color that makes you feel like the paint itself is judging you. Karen was behind her massive, cluttered desk, peering over her glasses as if she'd been expecting me, which she probably had. Her posture screamed control, the kind of control that comes from years of telling everyone else how to live while somehow convincing them it's for their own good. "Karen," I said, trying to keep my voice steady, "we need to talk about my house." She smiled that tight, smug smile, the one that could curdle milk. "Ah, yes. Your lake house," she said, as if it were a delicate subject on a menu of community properties she had permission to serve. "I've been managing the rentals. It's for the good of the neighborhood, really." I blinked. "You, what?" "I'm holding short-term rentals," she said cheerfully, tapping her perfectly manicured nails on her desk. "Helps maintain property standards and ensures responsible guests. Lake traffic, noise, you know." "Karen," I said, leaning across her desk, "you do realize this is my private property, right? You don't own my house. You don't get to list it online and collect money for it. Her eyes narrowed, but the smile didn't leave her face. Technically, I'm helping administrate it. There's an administrative fee involved. Consider it a service charge. A service charge? I repeated, incredulous. You collected money from strangers staying in my home. My home. She leaned back, folding her hands as though I were the one out of line. I see it differently. You should be grateful. The guests are clean, polite, and contribute to the community's upkeep. I even personally screened them. That's care, don't you think? Grateful? I felt like my face was turning 50 shades of red. You are not authorized to screen anyone in my house. You are not authorized to touch my property, set foot inside it, or collect money from strangers. Karen's tone shifted slightly, though she still tried to sound calm. Well, the weekends are booked. The next 8 are already reserved. Canceling would create instability for the HOA. Instability? I repeated. In your fantasy world, maybe. In the real world, you've committed fraud. She shrugged. You call it fraud, I call it management. There's a fine line between community service and personal oversight. You should trust me to know the difference. At that moment, I realized arguing would get me nowhere. Karen wasn't just audacious, she was bulletproof in her mind. She had twisted her authority into a weapon, and anyone who challenged her, like me, was just a pest to be swatted away. I left the office fuming, my mind racing. My house, my money, my privacy, all violated. But one thing became crystal clear: if I wanted to get back control, I couldn't just confront Karen. I had to outsmart her. And somehow, I would. The weekend guests, oblivious to the drama unfolding just a few blocks away, were still splashing in my lake. I clenched my fists and made a silent vow. Karen had turned my lake house into her personal ATM, but that would end. And soon. I decided it was time to stop chasing Karen and start trapping her. Confrontation had gotten me nowhere, and reasoning with her was like trying to explain quantum physics to a squirrel, entertaining in theory but ultimately futile. If I wanted to regain control of my lake house, I needed proof. Hard evidence that could expose her audacious little scheme and finally make her accountable. I created a fake profile on the same rental platform she had used. I picked a generic name, a harmless-looking profile picture, and a plausible email address. Then I booked my own house for the upcoming weekend. Within 5 minutes, a notification popped up, booking confirmed by Karen Latham. I felt a rush of triumph mixed with disbelief. She had accepted a reservation on my home, knowing full well she had no right to do so. The weekend arrived, and I parked my car discreetly down the road, keeping an eye on my house through binoculars. Karen showed up like clockwork, clipboard in hand, a basket of toiletries and snacks in her arms. She walked up to the front door, unlocked it with a key that wasn't hers, and began preparing the house as if she were the hostess of some exclusive resort. Towels neatly folded, wine glasses sparkling on the counter, scented candles lit in every room, my personal touches she didn't have a right to manipulate, now co-opted into her little theater. I stayed in the car, recording everything. Every step, every movement, every smug smile she flashed while arranging my furniture, my lamps, my lake view. She even left a small gift basket on the kitchen table, labeled, "Welcome to your lakeside escape." As if she owned the place, as if her permission mattered. Finally, she stepped out to check her phone. That was my moment. I stepped out of the car, phone in hand, recording, and called out, "Karen." She spun around, eyes wide, basket still in hand. "Oh. You have no authority here," I said, keeping my tone calm but firm. "This is my property. You are trespassing, and you are misrepresenting yourself online. I have everything recorded. The rentals, the payments, your entry into my home, all of it." Her mouth opened and closed like a fish, no words forming. She looked around nervously, clearly realizing that the carefully constructed world she had built was crumbling. I continued, "From now on, any attempt to list my house, collect money from guests, or enter my property without permission will be treated as fraud